Hey all, Grolo here. We're gonna watch the Ship Showdown Q&A they just dropped. Real quick before we do though, some of you expressed a lack of interest in reaction content on the channel, favoring my other content types such as deep dives and some of the other things like the Hot Button MMO series I've been doing. I hear you loud and clear. I gave it a lot of thought. The other types of content will always be my focus. That was always the intent. We won't see any less of that type of content just because I react to something. These reactions are fairly straightforward. I just turn the camera on when I'm watching something I was going to watch anyway. If anything, it helps me watch it better. It keeps me more engaged with the content that I'm watching, so it's kind of a win-win. Reactions certainly are not a focus. They're just fun. I understand there's a darker side of some types of reactions, and I 100% respect that. I would never want to react to something that the publisher, the original publisher, didn't want me to. In the case of these SCLs, I don't think they mind. So hopefully you can enjoy this with me. If it is a completely no interest to you, just skip it. With that out of the way, let's watch this together.
Is there usually a sound effect there? I don't think so. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live, emanating directly from our offices, the office part of the offices where we spend most of our actual day. Welcome. It's been a while. I'm your host, Jared. On the show this week,
nearly forgot it.
On the show this week, for our Ship Showdown Q&A, our two big vehicle directors here in the UK office, Mr. John, I almost said John Curtis. Wow. I just caught myself from saying John Curtis. Mr. John Crew and Ben Curtis. John, Ben, say hi.
Hello.
Hello.
So we've got to get used to the camera swapping.
Yeah, Zoom does the camera swapping. John, say something more.
Hello. My name's John.
Right, that's
Please
John.
Zoom.
That's John.
John has also just moved offices. That's why his background is a little bit plainer.
Yeah, you just moved offices. I'm still in the office I've been in all year, but it's we're not used to being in here. So yeah, hi everybody. If you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take about an hour out of the end of an occasional week and answer questions from you, the Star Citizen community. At the end of last week, we put up a thread up on Spectrum and asked you to submit your vehicle-related questions. We're doing this show because we're in the middle of Ship Showdown, which is our big annual knock 'em, sock 'em, drag 'em event where the raft loses in the first round.
Too soon.
I just need to talk to the people who made the bracket because that was so unfair. And so we're just going to jump into it. We went to the thread. We grabbed a bunch of your questions. I do want to say a note. I want to say a note before we jump in. Pretty good questions this week. I've been doing this for, on and off for 11 years. And a lot of the times we have to skip through a whole bunch of the questions because the questions aren't really on the topic, or they're for a completely different team than the team that we're doing, because people don't always think about, oh, there's that team, there's that team, there's that team, and they all kind of work together, but we only got this team on or whatever. Questions were pretty good this week, so we were able to basically take our 30. We usually do about 30 in the course of an hour. We were able to take our 30 from the top 40, so we didn't have to skip many at all. So we are just going to jump right into it, and the first question, which is the most upvoted question if you account for how many times it was asked throughout the thread, and then combine all those votes. The first question is simply 600i rework when?
Yes, please.
Oh, it went to me.
Oh. It went. You can answer then.
I have one of these. Been waiting on this.
We've done the concepts. We've already shown some of that, I believe, last year. Sorry, it kind of blurs a little bit. It's no production work is currently happening on it, and it's not on our sort of like rolling 12 to 18 month schedule at the moment. I think everything we showed in the concept still valid. I think exterior wise, pretty happy with where the ship is. It's mainly down to interior layout changes and making a better use of the space that it's got. It's got quite a lot of space, and it's got a fair amount of wasted space. And then also the kind of like the changes we want to do to make sure it's works much better with the kind of the different modules and the different layouts that we need.
Yeah, you covered most of it. I think the only real things to add there is everything we showed with those concept images is pretty much accurate still. Big highlights being the Explorer gets a medical bed and the cargo bay of it gets large enough to hold a Nova tank. And why it constantly, well, not constantly, why it never seems to happen is that really 600i owners have a functional ship. So when it comes to prioritizing what do we want to work on next, redoing the 600i takes the place of something else that doesn't exist yet. So still super excited to do it. I think it's going to be a big update when it happens, but it's just finding the right time to do it.
Yeah, and I think it will be nice to kind of put a little bit of polish on some of the Origin ships.
We've not done an Origin ship for a while as well.
Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say. I mean, it's been a while. All the other brands are getting some stuff. I mean, we did get the bike that fits in the 400i. That's the most recent Origin thing I can think of. I love Origin ships. Behind Misk, Origin's probably number 2 for me. I don't know, man. I can't wait for this. Yeah, we have a functional ship, but like I never fly my 600i. Like, what's the point of flying that thing? But if I had medical beds in there and better vehicle storage compartment like they're talking about, man, that might be who knows? Might compete with the TAC.
Yeah, it would be nice to kind of give it a little bit of love.
Yeah, I know. We go into I think it's our 6th or 7th 2026 schedule meeting next week. And next week, and I'm hopeful we're going to get an Origin ship in there.
On to the ninth edition of the schedule.
Yep. Just in case people think it happens willy-nilly. It goes through a lot of iteration. And yeah, for the people in the chat, I can't call you out because there's so many. When did we start answering when questions? We're gonna have a couple of these. And the when questions we're going to be able to talk about are the ones that are like, it's not coming anytime in the next 6 to 12 months. I think it's important. It's not the information anybody wants to hear, but I think it's valuable to folks who want to it's important for managing your expectations and stuff like this. We don't want to string you along or whatnot. If we know something's not going to come in the next 6 to 12 months and whatnot, some of these questions we're just gonna tell you.
I do appreciate being able to put it out of my mind.
It's the right thing to do. So that's why we answered that one. And there'll be a couple more of those as we go through. Our next question, how many existing ships need upgrade/polish before engineering can be released? Now, this is a backdoor question trying to glean some insight into engineering, but I'll let John and Ben answer about the ship part of that, since engineering is not technically a ship feature, a ship content feature.
Yeah, obviously, vehicle content has a big part to play in this. So there's sort of two-part answer here is what's needed from the vehicle side to release the feature and what's needed to have the feature fully functional, bells and whistles and everything. So what's needed to release the feature from a vehicle content side is all the ships support it right now. We have fallback methods for those ships that don't have physicalized components, say like all the single seaters. You'll be able to access the gameplay in a way through your existing MFDs to sort of repair and manage components that are damaged. So it's sort of not as unfair to those ships that don't have that level of physical components as those that do. And that will come with some downsides. But again, it's not a vehicle content feature, so I don't want to go all the way into specifics. But in terms of the full featured running around your ship, changing fuses, messing with relays, engineering screens, completely accessible components, we are pretty well through the list. I had a big chart that I was looking at the other day of where we are with it, and it's well over half the ships have that level of everything being physicalized, and the majority of the ones that don't so far are those single-seater ships that gameplay is of a lesser importance. So every patch, people have noticed ships getting little updates here and there or have not noticed. So we're chipping away at that list whilst working on all the other things.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's fortunately the engineering gameplay makes the biggest difference to the bigger ships, and
As it
it's
should.
the smaller ships that kind of give us more of the headaches, like not the single seaters, but like the ones with like the really small interiors. They're the ones that kind of gives a few more headaches because we're limited by the exterior of the ship and trying to cram in so much into the kind of interiors. But yeah, luckily the mediums, the larges are a little bit easier to kind of update and support for that.
Yeah, and the big headline here is that it's not a feature that's being held back by the work on the vehicle content team and whatnot. It's the folks who are developing the feature and the gameplay systems design team, and they're still working on it. I saw Torsten was over here. He was visiting from the Frankfurt office earlier this week, and he was in there with a big review with JJ and Rick and Rich on this earlier this week. So it's still underway. It's still in development. No comments on when, because I mean, we've done like between Digital Citizen Con, Actual Citizen Con, a couple ISCs, we've done like 5 videos on engineering at this point. So it'll go into tech preview testing when it's ready.
I could see something like the Reliant series being a pain to implement this in. I don't know if the Freelancer series, maybe there's computers in the middle of the ship. Maybe that's where they're planning on putting the displays for some of this stuff. I don't know. I'm sitting here trying to think. Maybe the Cutter series? That's a pretty new series, so that might be okay. I see what they mean about the ships with the small interiors, not necessarily the single-seaters. Using the MFDs is an interesting stopgap for engineering gameplay in the really small ships. I didn't expect any engineering at all in those ships, but that using MFDs to interact with the system, that could be interesting.
The answer we're going to get there as far as when. Next question from the thread. How do you choose the color scheme for the Showdown paints each year? This is probably also a backdoor question to the
I'm guessing that's a me question.
It's a big spinny wheel of random colors, and we just go.
Yeah.
I just want to know if they're going to be giant and pink or purple again this year.
Well, we've got a meeting kind of next week to make some decisions on this.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a me, John decision. In more recent years, what we've been trying to do is kind of wrap the whole event into its sort of like quite a cohesive sort of brand and tying it all together. So you'll notice that the colours that the halls were and all the branding in the halls was reflected by the ships. It works great on some. It doesn't necessarily work as well on others. I think we're this year, like I say, we've got a meeting to discuss next week about what we're going to choose. I think we will hopefully have learned a bit from some of the ones that maybe didn't work quite so well, and hopefully make something that everyone, well, it's really subjective, isn't it? Some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it no matter what we do. So, but hopefully it will be more successful as we move forward.
Can it be more purple than it was last year, though?
I'm trying to. No, last year was like purple and blue, and it had those really nice sort of like
That was the year before.
Oh, was it? Oh God, has it been 2 years already?
Last year was Milka.
Oh,
Wait, what?
no comment.
Milker? Is that a UK?
Milka, the European chocolate brand.
Oh,
purple and white.
Milka. Wait.
What's the line? Other brands are available.
Oh yeah, they're not the only brand available. Other chocolate.
And just in case any of Milka's lawyers are watching, that was not a binding statement from Clan Imperium Games. It's just colloquialism. As of 2025, most starter ships are far from being Gold Pass. These ships are the ones which are used by new players to discover the game, and they are sometimes so outdated and featureless that it feels wrong. Any plans to prioritize legacy starters to Gold Pass them? I like a question with a strong POV.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. In fact, this week we actually did the kickoff for gold standarding the Aurora series. So what do we mean by that? That means giving it all its physical components, updating the dashboard to current MFD standards, fire extinguishers, weapons locker, just fixing all the stuff that's wrong with it that doesn't suit the game today versus when it was made. And it's going to be I think quite a nice update for those owners of which there are many millions.
Yeah, I have a little bit of an issue with the term gold standard, because like gold standard's like an ever moving kind of line. So it's
Right.
more about bringing the ships up to,
Current.
what, like say what, yeah, current standard or 1.0 standard or whatever, however you want to kind of like stage it. It's it's bringing the ships up to the standard where they support all the current kind of gameplay and features that we know about kind of now. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, and where we'll take things. So this is about kind of making them the best that we can make them today, effectively. And I think in terms of like starter ships, I don't think we can say that we're doing all starter ships first, and then we're doing this, and then we're doing that. It's generally kind of prioritized by ship popularity in kind of some sense. The more popular ships, the most popular ships with the worst issues is the ones we want to try and fix up kind of sooner. But then also kind of what makes sense from a gameplay and a business sense. So if we've got something, a feature coming out that we know is going to use a certain class of ships, and we've got some of those ships that are maybe lacking, then if we've got time in the schedule and everything aligns nicely, then hopefully we can kind of try and bring those up to standard as well where we can. But yeah, it's quite a lot of kind of juggling of different things to kind of do the picking of exactly which ships are getting their pass when.
There was a question in the chat.
That makes a lot of sense. It might not be the answer you want if you're waiting on a certain ship that maybe isn't that popular to be given kind of that another pass, but thinking of this logically from a business and product standpoint, like I can't think of any other way to properly prioritize where you're going to be investing your engineering time, right? Obviously, you're going to start with the things that are going to have the most impact on your user base. So popularity is one measure. Game functionality, like he's mentioned, different loops and stuff coming online, that could be another. So the answer makes sense. Even though I'm still wanting another pass on the Freelancer series. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Definitely the 600i. Oh, I'm sad that's not coming soon.
From Denon Tonic, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this person's been in SCL chat for years and years. Hello. They ask, why was the Aurora removed as a starter package? For simply put, it's a two-factor thing. I can't remember when we did it. We did it a while back ago. One, I think the Aurora MR alone, there's like 490,000 of them across accounts in the PU. When you factor in all the Auroras, it's definitely our most populous ship, and it was still needing a gold standard pass. It needs all that work. The dashboard they mentioned, the damage mesh, the ground fuel ports, the radar, and all, it needed work and everything.
I would not have guessed the Aurora is that popular.
Start for people, just like the question originally said. So we removed it from the starter packages. You can still buy it. You can still buy it individually if you want it, whatever. But we felt it was more customer facing to push ships that were closer to the current standard, as Ben said. And when the Aurora is back and up to the current standard or whatnot, we'll look at bringing it back into a starter package.
Cool. I don't have an Aurora in my lineup.
What happened to the fourth Zeus variant? It was briefly shown during CitizenCon 2953, and it was apparently called the Zeus Mark II ST. I don't remember that, but I was really busy at CitizenCon.
I do, because a fun story here is I put the wrong image in the PowerPoint slide for the presentation, and I noticed that on stage when I turned around and looked at the screen. And it had all four there. So yes, there is a fourth variant called the ST. And the reason it isn't really known about beyond there is it has a sort of game loop that isn't really fully fleshed out. So we decided not to launch it with the other three. And when that game loop is more fleshed out, we'll talk more about it.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Which game
it's
loop?
one of those things we try. We don't always succeed. Let's just be real honest here. We don't always succeed, but we try not to push ships that don't have the relevant requisite
space
gameplay
tourism
at the same time. And when people see a new ship that's added every month, and they say, "Why are they doing another fighter? Or why are they doing that?" and whatever. There's a lot of factors that go into that. Not the least of which is that fighters sell. Let's just be real. But it's most of the time when people are like, why aren't you doing this ship, or why aren't you putting another ship with this? It's because we're waiting for the gameplay systems to mature, before we put more ships out in that loop. Again, it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes the schedule is a schedule. But wherever we can, we do try to not push ships that don't have the requisite gameplay or all the requisite gameplay and stuff. Again, there will always be exceptions. How is ship modularity coming along?
Good question.
I mean, it's out there now with the Retaliator. It is another one of those things along with the Hull C that took a long time, and we talked about it for a long time in SCLs and ISCs. It's out there with the Retaliator now. So really the only thing that stops it spreading further onto other ships that we promised it with is just simply time and resources to go through those other ships and do it. It's the same reason we haven't done the last one or two modules for the Retaliator. In terms of feature-wise, it's there. It's working as much as we need it to work for ships such as the Apollo, which I'll say now is coming out next month with all of its modules, so all 6 modules. So it has the left and right tier 1, 2, 3 modules, so you can mix and match between them all.
Nice.
There might be some ships that I can't think of in the back of my mind that have a feature inside their modules that doesn't work yet. But if that's the case, we're probably not working on those ships anyway. But yeah, modularity as a feature works.
Yeah. It's technically 6 modules, but it's 2. It's the left and right with a tier 1 bed, a left and right with the tier 2 with 2 tier 2 beds, and a left and right with 3 tier 3 beds.
Yeah.
So it is technically.
I still get confused by the tiers. It's the wrong way around in my head.
It is. We do everything in Star Citizen is generally tier 1 is your starting, and then you go up. And tier 2 is more than tier 1, and tier 3 is more than tier 1. With the Apollo, because of whatever decision we made back in 2018 or whatnot, I think it matches actual first responder injury stuff. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Oh, I guess that makes sense then.
But it's inverse. So the Apollo is the only one that's inverse, where tier 1 med beds are the best of the med beds, and then tier 2 are the medium, and then tier 3 are the lesser ones. And that is confusing a lot of people. We're
consistency is more important than anything.
The September promotional ship, the flight ready ships are the Apollo triage and the Medivac, and our brand folks are onboarding and having to learn about this and stuff like this. And yes, it keeps being a continual point of.
So just fix it, reverse it. Come on.
But
I don't own an Apollo. So no intention of owning an Apollo. So. One more reason for me not to.
I saw the command module recently being added to the public roadmap.
Oh man, I'm pumped for the command modules. I love the Caterpillar.
Me first.
Because you're the last one that was talking.
Oh, okay. John, do you want to talk first?
Yeah. So command module on the roadmap, that's the technical features done by not the vehicle content team to allow us to set up the command module, which you've seen on the side of the Caterpillar, and it's also on the Ironclad, that allows it to be a fully independent ship that can dock, detach, dock, and the complexity here that requires the feature development is it's not the same docking system as you see like Starfarer refueling or Merlin and Constellation
Thank God
series,
it's not.
because those are simply just 2 ships attaching to each other. The command module is that plus the transfer of control authority between one ship to the other. So you need, when you're in the command module, it's to have its own set of IFCS parameters and more, but we'll just talk IFCS. So it can fly off and do its own thing. And then when it's attached to the base portion of the ship, it then needs to essentially absorb all the control links of all the items that are in that other section, take over control of them, take over flight of the whole thing. So yeah, we are getting that feature-wise in a position where we can.
Super excited for this feature. The Caterpillar is one of my favorite cargo ships, and every time we're out and we're using that thing, I can't help but imagine myself sitting in the captain's chair on that little independent vessel, just detaching and like going over to whichever side we're loading on and just kind of helping because I think they intend for the tractor beam to be on the front of that command module, at least on the Caterpillar. I don't know about the Drake Ironclad, but flying over there and helping load the ship with the tractor beam on that command module, I think that would just be so freaking cool. And speaking of the Starfare, has anybody, the reason I say thank God it's not, has anybody ever successfully docked with the Starfare and transferred fuel? I have a Starfare. I've never been able to get it to work. Now, to be fair, I have not tried since 4.0. The last time I tried was probably in the 319 days, and I just could never get it to work on any ship. I mean, we tried multiple class size ships because I had heard, like, you know, bigger ones work better than smaller ones, and so on and so forth. I mean, we tried a lot. I just could not get that to work. If you've gotten it to work, give me a comment. Tell me your secret. I'd love to hear it.
Update the content to support it.
Sure. And I think, like I said it was recently added to the public roadmap, not in the release view, but in the technical development view. That is being developed by the technical feature team is doing it, and then when they're done, then it can be applied to ships like the Caterpillar and stuff. So I think I want to be real clear. When you see, I think it was scheduled to like end in December. That's not when like the Caterpillar is getting it in December. That's when the work internally is scheduled to be done, and then the vehicle content team can grab that work and say, you know, thanks, and then start applying it to.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's not a hard requirement for some of our upcoming ships, but I think everyone will be pretty disappointed if we're not able to ship the Ironclad with its module, and obviously, like I say, it unlocks us to then be able to kind of work on the Caterpillar and everything else. So from our side, we're not in control of it, but we are pushing to you know, try and get as much support as we can for it.
Cool.
What brought on this recent design?
So that sounds like there is a shot that we will get the Drake Ironclad with a detachable module, but it's not going to be ready for the Drake Caterpillar at the same time, which disappointing, but makes sense.
Design trend of emphasizing bespoke weaponry on your newest ships.
Yeah, I would love to hear this.
But trend is 2 in a row, but
yeah,
question's a question.
I agree. It's an unfortunate trend based on just the last 2 ships. It's not a sort of weird plan to just bespoke weapons going forward. I think if I think about everything that's coming for the rest of the year, the only other bespoke weapon that is on any ship for the rest of the year is the Perseus turret guns. Everything else uses generic ones.
No, there's a bespoke weapon on one of the October things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because I continue.
So two more for the rest of the year. And those ships also have generic weapons. And it's a 2-part answer. One, Ben could probably talk about from the visual side, but from the design side, it allows us to have essentially some level of control over the actual raw like damage output of a ship. Because as players know, everyone min-maxes. If you have generic swappable weapons, you have to account for a full size range. So if we take the Meteor, for example, and we let those be generic size 5s, I think that would be a well and truly overpowered ship. But because they're bespoke ones, allowed us to have size 5 weapons that were very constrained and had sort of downsize to keep it in check. And the same with the Wolf, that generic size 4s would have made it sort of just a Talon, but smaller.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a compromise. It's a compromise between like design requirements and balancing and everything like that, and also between the you know, the visuals that we're trying to achieve. I think trying to fit generic size 4s on the Wolf would have it would have limited what we could do with its visuals, and I know that's not important to everyone, but it does make up like a large part of what we try and do with the game. But like I say, it's a compromise. With the Wolf, we were really keen to be able to kind of have those weapons fold away and kind of compress into the body and give those really clean lines. I think it was a quite an important thing for Kruger. And you know, with the Meteor, we kind of wanted to really tie those weapons into the kind of the ship itself and kind of show that it's like make it feel kind of really powerful and really unique. So we can like, you know, integrate them into much like what we did with the kind of the Ares ships. And you know, just because they're not generic size 4, size 5, or whatever that means, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's never going to be options for other weapons for those ships. It just means that they won't necessarily use all of the ships, all of the kind of weapons that are generic in that size class. But it doesn't mean that you're only going to ever have one weapon for a particular ship.
Okay.
That's a fair point that I hadn't considered. It makes sense. I'd also suspect that even though these are bespoke weapons, I mean, they're still going to be subject to some of like the tuning stuff that they talked about, and whatever other systems that come online. So, I'm not a big fan of them yet, but maybe I will be. I understand the balancing constraints that they're talking about. Like, I understand that by making them bespoke, they can do some cooler things that they might not otherwise be willing to do because of balance issues. So that makes sense to me. Still, I'm a little hesitant to embrace them.
I hear what you're saying. Let's see if anybody else picks up on it. If only there was a giant ship convention.
Do I need to wink at the end of that statement?
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe we'll see an example soon.
The ships with multiple S2 shields seem to have some power issues compared with ships with a single larger shield, as they consume much more power, but they perform much worse. In the past, you said that 6 times S2 of the Redeemer should provide an advantage in regeneration compared to a single S3, but currently they're not working this way, as the S2 shields have much worse shield regeneration. Whew. John.
That is very true. So we are in this sort of in-between stage of the current system and engineering. And I talked with Torsten yesterday to make sure I say the right thing here. So hopefully I don't misconstrue it. But with the engineering update, there's going to be quite a large change in how shields and other components function. And essentially, if you have a ship that has more than 2 shields, you will only ever have 2 available at a time active. So that means that if one of them goes down, your third one will come online to take its place. If that one goes down, the fourth one comes online, 5th, 6th, whatever. So in terms of power consumption, obviously that changes things drastically because you're only having to power 2, but you have this sort of
Big time.
Larger backup pool of shield generators.
Redundancy.
So in terms of size 2 versus size 3, all the sizes will have changes done. Like every single item is rebalanced with engineering. All the values you see now are not going to be the same as they are when engineering drops. So you can't really accurately compare that 6 S2s now to, say, 1 size 3 coming in the future. But that difference will be a lot less with engineering update.
I'm a huge fan of redundancy. That's pretty cool. That would be a compelling feature in a post-engineering world.
Just please don't make me swap all of size 2 to size 3s. It will break me.
Whose idea was it to make everything physicalized?
It was a really good idea.
Are there any plans for a medium to large class salvage ship?
That's just the kind of work that you hate as a dev, right? Just having to go back and just refactor a bunch of decisions that you no longer like just because there's a new way of thinking about things. It's just so. Oh my gosh, that's just so. That kills me. That's great.
I love the way it always goes to Ben.
He's the last one talking.
So we want there to be like a full range of ships in a gameplay loop, like true dedicated starters, like professional starters, then small, medium, large, capital, whatever.
This is a category that interests me, by the way. I love industry ships, and I want like every size class of ship in the industry space. So.
And we saw this earlier in the year with the introduction of the Golem for the mining loop. So you've got that teeny tiny proper starter ship. And for
Very
salvage,
cool.
we want to have that as well as this medium large ship in the future to fill the range out.
Need an orange salvage ship.
An orange one?
Yeah.
Why
Argo.
an orange one?
Because I think salvage suits orange ships.
Argo salvage ship.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to ask this question, then I'm going to go get a drink. Backlog ships plan?
Yep. Obviously a very popular topic, rightly so. It's always, like we've talked about this over the years lots, it's always a balancing act. At the end of the day, the company and the project is funded in a particular manner, and traditionally new ships sell well. But that doesn't mean we can't not do the old ones. We have to do that. But it's always a balancing act between fresh new content, updating the existing content so it suits the game as it is today. Like I said, we talked about with the Aurora, that isn't really suitable for the game today. So we need to fix things like that. And then we also need to finish and deliver on the backlog ships. And that changes year to year, quarter to quarter, and that ratio.
It's something we put a lot of kind of discussion into and thought into as we're kind of like planning out the years and what we're planning on doing. And I think we
That whole new ships sell really well thing stings a little bit to hear, if I'm being honest. Because you've already sold a lot of the backlog ships. I hope they circle back to that.
We kind of generally look at what we're working on in the 12, 18, 24 kind of month.
Ben, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you move your mic closer to your mouth? We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Yep.
Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah. I was just kind of echoing what John said. We basically, we put a lot of thought into it. We're kind of generally planning like 12, 18 months and ahead. And having a bit of a look at like where the backlog is, which, like I say, is something we do every time we're kind of talking about what ships next. If you take into account the sort of like the next kind of 18 months or so, after that we'll be left with maybe kind of like 2-ish a year that we haven't delivered. Maybe some years 3, maybe some years 1. But I think we're we're definitely trending on the right trend. There's a few manufacturers that've got like 1 or 2 vehicles left. It'd be great to kind of get them kind of done off the backlog, and then we can really focus about kind of new and exciting stuff.
Like the Misk Odyssey.
Yeah, I feel like we've made a decent effort, and we're kind of like we are getting towards the kind of like the end of the list.
Yeah, if you look at the existing backlog ships, and we said this before, that we don't want to release ships without their gameplay, whether that's like feature-wise or game loop-wise. If you remove all the ones that, as of today, like if we could click our fingers and instantly magic a ship into existence, if we remove all the ones that don't have features in the game today or fully functioning game loops, that backlog list is quite small. I think you've got the G12s, which I know there's a question about coming, the Liberator, the whole series, Odyssey, and then the rest of them are ones that sort of really do need a game loop to make.
All the ships I'm waiting for were on his list. Let's get them prioritized. The whole series and the Odyssey, the rest of the Misk lineup. Thank you. Let's get her done. Oh my gosh, I'm pumped for the Odyssey. That's going to be a great ship. The G12s I'm also waiting on. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a 600i. I have been waiting forever for a G12 to stick in that thing. It's just going to look better. The existing options just don't look that great in a 600i. They're just not up to snuff. You know what I mean? They don't have the same polish.
Their use be good in the game.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to jump in there and stuff.
Although the rest of the whole series, I can see you could argue about the game loop being in the game for those things. Like, there's just no need to move that much stuff right now. Even the Hull C is a little much.
It's often what happens is we have to interpret what the request actually is. People want the ships. What they're really saying is they want the gameplay. They want the gameplay that is associated with that ship.
Fair.
And we, the people in this call, are not entirely in control of that destiny. as everybody knows from our statement at the beginning of this year, certainly not all. It's been kind of exaggerated, but a bunch of our engineers and programmers and stuff are on Squadron, closing that out. There are still many gameplay programmers and engineers on Star Citizen working on crafting and base building and engineering and the new inventory system we showed off on SCL a while ago, stuff like this. So, but there's never enough people to work on everything all at one time. There just isn't. So
this is a really good point, and it's something that I talk about in various forums or places quite a bit. It's that age-old criticism of like, I have invested in this ship. This is the ship I want. What is taking you so long? Or, I invested in Star Citizen. I didn't invest in Squadron. Or I invested in mining. You need to prioritize mining, or whatever the case might be. Like, everybody has their own bias towards the things they want CIG working on, and they feel like they can kind of support their argument because that's where they put the money on the line. But the retort I have offered is like, what good is the ship going to be if there's no systems there to support the ship? I mean, go back to the hangar module days when that's all they had. I wasn't even here then, but I hear people talking about it. Is that really what you want? You just want to be able to spawn your ship in a hangar and just look at it? Or do you want to be able to go out into the verse? So, when we're funding these ships, we're buying a lot more than just the ship that we're funding. We are buying that ship plus the universe and all the systems and everything to support the use of that ship. And so, even though we talked about this on the MMO series too, or the Hot Button and MMO series that I've been working on, we talked about this with at least one of the guests there about like, even though I'm investing in Star Citizen and a lot of the work is being done in Squadron 42, that doesn't really mean that, my money is somehow being spent on things that don't matter to me. To an extent, you can argue that, yes, but a lot of the systems in Squadron are also, that technology is coming over to Star Citizen, right? And it's the same thing when the systems work. Like, if I'm investing in an Orion, obviously there is no gameplay in the game to support a mining ship of that size, so mining itself is going to have to evolve. So my investment in the Orion ship is also an investment in the mining systems of the game and the universe to make sure that there's places in the universe that make sense for the new mining systems, and so on and so forth, right? So just keep that in mind whenever you're making these debates and arguments and discussions.
So you guys can make those ships when the gameplay team gets around to making that gameplay and stuff like this. But when you take those ships out, somebody in chat mentioned the Endeavor. The Endeavor's gonna. Let's just be real. We're gonna be waiting a while for the Endeavor. When you take those gameplay ships out that don't have the gameplay, the backlog is actually pretty reasonable and stuff. Even the Manual Merchantman requires NPCs and being able to set up your own shops with NPCs and stuff, and that's feature work and stuff. So it's always a balancing act. We answer some version of this question twice a year, every single year for at least the last half decade and whatever. The answer never really changes, but there's always new people. So I want to make sure, it's a thing. We'll keep answering it because people want their ships and people deserve to have their ships in as timely a manner as possible. But we have to balance that between gameplay services being available and, quite frankly, the needs to continue pushing the project into new directions at the same time. So it's not easy. 12.
Fair enough.
12th question. I don't know why I said the number. Raylan cargo pod system, valid or needs rethinking?
Who's it going to go to?
I'll go. Okay. I think it's. Can I say both? I think visually, it's valid. Like, we really like where it is visually. And we have been doing a little bit of investigation on this kind of fairly recently, trying to work out what we want to do with it. I think what that has kind of led to is the cargo value is probably going to change a little bit, and I think we will need to do a little bit of concept work to get the kind of the visuals to a point where it still looks cool, but it is kind of it's practical and it makes the ship kind of good to use, because the last thing I really want to do is push us too far down a particular route with the visuals that just mean that it's an absolute pain to play with. So I think we need to find that compromise, like we kind of keep mentioning. But
Like the raft.
they are valid because I like what they look like, but they need a little bit of tweaking to make work.
Yeah, they are gonna use the existing SCU cargo system that we have in the game, so they're not gonna have some
That was the
weird
important bit,
bespoke
wasn't it, that I should have said.
Xi'an cargo
Yep.
shape cargo. It's going to use the same SU ones. It's going to take 32 SU containers, but we have some ideas on how we're going to sort of wrap that up in the GATAC style language, and then the cargo capacity is going to go way up. I'm not going to give a number here. We'll give a number later on, but it's up.
I don't know much about the Raylon, so I'm not really exactly sure what they're talking about, but I can imagine it's something along the lines of the raft, right? Like the raft's old system was not designed for the modern cargo gameplay, and the refactor did an enormous job in modernizing the raft and making it more usable, and I now love my raft. Even though I'd rather have cranes and cool stuff, but we got to live in reality at some point. The alien ships I don't like any alien ships. I don't like the styling. I don't know. So I kind of ignore what's going on with the alien ships.
Will next year have a manufacturer focus like the past year seems to have been RSI? And if so, any hints to which one it will be?
We don't. This is going to sound weird after what has clearly been a year of RSI heavy ships, but we don't really pick like a manufacturer theme for the year. We talked on stage 2 years ago and last year about RSI being the theme for like the capital ships and going through that lineup. And a certain set of scenarios happened where we ended up doing some additional RSI ships, and that's.
It seems to me that I thought I remembered a conversation where they explicitly said they were going to focus on RSI ships so that they could reuse the design language. Am I crazy?
Been pretty useful in terms of
Which I
building
thought
out
made
kits
sense.
and allowing them to sort of benefit from each other. Mm-hmm. But there isn't really like next year's going to be X manufacturer and we're going to do 10 ships of that manufacturer plan. We try and do a spread.
I'm a little confused by this response.
From the chat, will we see more Kruger ships?
Doesn't seem to match what I'm seeing or what I've heard.
I definitely want to see more Kruger ships. So it was
more fins.
More maybe more fins. I think things like the Kruger ships, the Sula, stuff like that. Stuff that
the owners of the fins don't seem happy with
a little bit more blank canvasy when you kind of get to start with it. It is a very exciting challenge. I think if you take some of our existing manufacturers, you kind of know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with the Drake ship. Doesn't mean they're not fun, because it's great to explore their processes further, their manufacturing further. But I was kind of super happy with the Kruger and where we got to with it, and I will definitely be pushing to get more Kruger ships. Not that it's my decision, but I'll do what I can.
Another question from the chat. Anything about the Carrack cargo pods? After we were talking about possible changes to the the Raylan cargo pod system. Anything you can tell us about the Carrack cargo pods being detachable?
Yes. So there's a lot of talk about the Carrack ones. They were never designed to be fully openable whilst they're within the ship. If you look at the ship, like the belly of the ship comes down halfway down the pods. We did some work early this year, to improve the opening, but they're never supposed to fully open whilst in the ship. You're supposed to drop the whole pods out, and then they open. If you look at the very original concept art, you'll see them like dropped on the planet side. That's where that ship's modularity comes from. And to do that requires quite an extensive rework of that belly area. So we're going to save that for when we have time to spread or time to spend more on the Carrack, because again, it's it can take cargo. I'm fully aware of how annoying it can be. It's not supposed to be like your mainline cargo ship. It's a explorer ship or expedition ship that can take cargo. But yeah, aware of the problem. The solution is slightly more work than I think people tend to think.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to those things dropping down.
Talking about how loading the Carrack is loading cargo for the Carrack is so painful.
It is painful. Oh my gosh. We brought that out just a couple weeks ago when we're trying to load. I forget what we were doing. Maybe something Wicklow related, but oh my gosh, it is so painful getting boxes on that thing. It was an exercise in frustration, to be sure. And I love the Carrack. It's a great ship. I would spend a lot more time in the Carrack with our crew if it was easier to put cargo on that thing. So I'm looking forward to the days. As I understand it, those pods are going to drop the whole way to the floor. That would be amazing. While we're at it, can we have the Caterpillar do the same thing or something? Not even the same thing. No, that's right. The Caterpillar needs a halfway point. Like the thing that drives me nuts about the Caterpillar is those gates that flip down. They now do drop, but whenever you lift them up, you can't stop them at the dock level. And if I'm wrong about this, please drop me a comment because this drives me batty. I would use the Caterpillar a lot more if this was solved. So what I want is whenever after that tongue or whatever you call it is on the ground and you move something onto it, I would love to be able to just lift it up to level with the rest of the storage module so that you can bring the stuff that was just put on that thing into the ship and then finish closing the door. But right now, like whenever you push the button to raise it up, it just raises and closes. Like I don't even understand the point of being able to drop it down. Am I crazy on this? Like I put that in the same categories as Carrack mess, where like it doesn't help with the loading at all. If anything, it makes it worse. Drop me a comment if I'm crazy. I would love to use it properly if it's possible.
I just realized it's in the side of my screen here. You want to see what else is painful about the Carrack? Here's a piece of merchandise that never made it off the drawing board. This was a Carrack plushie we explored like years ago. I just had it on my table. Yeah, it's not good.
It's got issues.
An attempt was made.
Oh my god.
That's what you get when you're here in my actual office and not my fake office we use for TV. There was another really good chat in question. I lost it. If you had a great chat in question in chat, ask it again.
Was it the CitizenCon one?
What was the CitizenCon one?
The sneak peek one. How many are we expecting to deliver?
Oh, no, that wasn't the question.
Okay.
Will external doors be made stronger so you can't just open them by punching the door?
Yeah, one of those great game dev quirks is that technically melee is doing physical damage, so over time it will do enough to open doors.
That's funny. I never tried that.
We're going to be bringing in, hopefully alongside engineering, like the concept of armor having minimum thresholds of damage, like damage numbers. So punching would just never exceed that threshold to allow you to open doors. Longer term, Maelstrom does this out the box. It's functional now in Squadron. Like your punch doesn't do enough kinetic energy for the system to even care about, so you'll never be able to break it like that. And
that's the first I've heard that Maelstrom is functioning in Squadron now. Is that old news? That's the first I'm hearing of it. That's pretty cool. I can't wait to get my hands on that game.
Until that comes into the PU, engineering will hopefully bring the sort of lightweight version of that approximates the same outcome.
I know. I found the question. Sandman 0888 asked. No, he didn't ask it. I lost it again. Wiseman 93 asked, "Will medical beacons return with the Apollo?" Boy, howdy! I sure hope so. I'm not going to sit here and say it absolutely will, because that's still roughly a month away. But we are making every single attempt to get those things back online. They were causing some really weird issues. Well, most people, you don't need me to explain to you what the issues were. It was just filling up the mission logs and making them unusable and stuff because of other changes that we made to Onyx facilities and stuff like that. So they were pulled down this month so that they could make some fixes. The things that have tormented medical players unfortunately won't be addressed when they come back. This is just about restoring their functionality that they had a month ago. But we will have more information about medical gameplay and the future of medical gameplay and stuff to go along with the Apollo when that launches, as John said, next month. But second to that, every single opportunity is being made to get medical beacons back for next month, because I'm just going to say it. It's really silly not to have them on the month you're trying to launch the Apollo.
Well, there's no reason to have them in the game right now. Like, I mean, I can't. I look forward to this discussion because I hope they take on some of the difficult conversation points around this. But like with item recovery tier 0, like what is the point of medical gameplay? Just to save what's in your backpack? I would rather just backspace and respawn with the gear on my body than wait for somebody to come pick me up. Especially whenever I can just respawn 20 feet away in my Ursa or whatever and just walk back and get it. Like, I think a lot of work needs to happen on item recovery and getting that to at least tier 1 before medical gameplay makes any sense at all, but who knows? Maybe they're going to come out with something crazy that I'm not thinking about. I look forward to it. There's so much to be done in that space. I mean, obviously, I was a critic of item recovery tier 0 the moment it was talked about. I don't feel any better about it today, but I'm not going to rant and rave about it right now.
And I'd really rather not have an unforced error like that. But we don't always get to control our destiny that way. So people are trying. I'll say that much. Considering how many ships have been getting PDCs, including things like the 890 and the Reclaimer, will the Ironclad be getting some too? Very specific question.
Yeah. Sorry, Iron Chad owners, that you're not going to get them. They're really
Thank you.
designed for military capital ships. I'm aware the 890 and the Reclaimer has got them. Those do not fit that bill, and the Constellation Phoenix. But that is because they were originally promised with them as part of their original design brief. So that's why they have them. But there's no plans to give them to the Ironclad.
Good.
There is a new vehicle with a new kind of PDC coming soon, though.
There is. Where there's a will, there's a way.
And also, I was just talking to the economist.
John cracks me up.
The existing PDCs, the laser repeaters and the new missile ones we launched with the Idris K kit, those are going to get added to the in-game shops probably sometime around November to make you people, to make those of you who have ships with PDCs have some more customization options. That stuff's coming. So about
cool.
Getting in and out of ships and seats, which always locks the player into an, in my opinion, way too lengthy animation that we can neither cancel nor skip. Are there any plans for a refactor of this, like there are plans for ladders and vaulting, climbing, traversal?
Yes, some of them are definitely too long. Calling out the Talon, especially. That is too long. It needs shortening, but we can't just we could just make the animation shorter, but then all the audio and things are out of sync, and we want to make it all feel nice. And like part of the allure of Star Citizen is feeling like you're in that world. So when you start getting audio visual disconnects, it's not great. I saw this question. It also sort of hinted like, why don't we just use the ladder V2 tech for getting in and out of ships? That's never going to work. They're two very different systems. Ladder V2 is for like static environment ladders, whereas this ship enter exits are very bespoke animations to the ship geometry themselves, and also have a lot of events tied into like, when I start this animation, I want to start opening the canopy, deploying fins or panels or whatever. They need to be very controlled, but being able to break out of them is something I've wanted for quite a while. It's just it's a priority thing, and it's on a team that is not under my influence to bias, sadly.
And I think you're right. Technically, you could speed up the animations, but I think it's about kind of making sure that things still feel kind of tangible. They still feel realistic, relatable. And we did a mocap shoot for not me personally, but there was a mocap shoot done for the Wolf Enter.
This is one thing that I could care less about. I like the animations. I think they feel immersive. When I'm getting in and out of a turret or a seat or something, I feel it. Like it feels tactile. I like that word. Good word choice. I would like the ability to break out of it. Like if the situation changes and I'm climbing up the ladder into my MISC freelancer, like maybe there's an explosion behind me or something. Who knows? Like I would like the ability to cancel it and just jump off the ladder and respawn. That would be cool. That's the only thing here that interests me.
Exit and seeing the speed at which the mocap actor stuntman just absolutely threw himself at the kind of the mock-up that was built out for him to use.
It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, it's I'd say it was pretty quick to be realistic. Him kind of sprinting full speed at a bunch of framework and throwing himself over it into a seat was it was impressive to watch. Even though I saw the videos, it was still
that's
still
funny.
Good.
Some nice Dukes of Hazzard action in there. I was just
There you go.
John,
Realistic.
I just opened up thesaurus.com. Was just looking for another word for bespoke. So we need we collectively at CIG we have a problem. I'm guilty. I'm as guilty of it as anybody. Bespoke only has one synonym. Tailored. So we stick with bespoke.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bespoke is
BMM.
overused in software engineering too.
BMM.
Now we're getting
Hear it all the time.
into the good questions. It's not in the 2026 schedule at the moment in terms of releasing. I do hope, though, fingers crossed, everything goes to plan, that we will start putting people back on it at the end of, in the back half of 2026. We got quite far into White Box. We showed the progress at CitizenCon. It's not moved an inch from where we last showed it.
That was quite a tough thing to show, because we wanted to be honest about it and show where we were up to with it, but also appreciate, if we're still on stage going, look at the BMM, everyone's going to be like, yeah, it's coming, and it's like, I'm just trying to be honest. So I think, as John says, we're hoping to get artists and designers and the content team kind of back on it next year, but that it's not currently in the schedule for next year's release. But as we keep mentioning a lot, things change, but that's a big one. It's going to take a lot to do, so the chances of it moving forward is pretty slim right now.
Makes sense. I mean, they were just talking about the game loop problem.
Can dedicated racks be placed in cargo ships for a max lift tractor tool, so one is handy and in the cargo bay?
I don't see why not. It's a pretty valid use case. Some of the ships we have later in the year do have weapon racks near their cargo bays. I don't know off the top of my head whether the max lift shares. So the way you decide what goes in each rack is a combination of size and tags. I don't know whether the max lift is classified as a weapon or a utility item. It might be that we need to just...
Pretty sure it's a utility item, yeah.
Yeah, we probably just need to re-tag the weapon racks to support both, assuming that they share the same metrics, which Ben, as weapon art director...
I cannot remember without looking, so yeah. Sorry.
I'm going to leave the camera on you for this one, Ben. How hard is it to create paints for the currently available ships?
How long we got? If I start waffling too much, tell me to shut up. It's really a mixed bag. I think if you got a black ship, you want to make it red, it's relatively straightforward. It's relatively straightforward for me. We have some material settings, we can change that, it's fine. Everything we do still needs to have, not getting too technical, new entities set up, it needs to be plugged into all the existing ship setup. It needs to be tested, needs to be named, needs to be go through market. There's a whole host of other departments that aren't just like color swatch red done.
I'm still not understanding this. Why is it so hard to display the birthday date on the settings page? Why can't we get this done this quarter?
First, we have to call the bingo service. See, bingo knows everyone's name-o, so we get the user's ID out of there. Then from bingo, we can call Papaya and MBS to get that user ID and turn it into a user session token. We can validate those with Omnop, and then, once we have that, we can finally pull the user's info down from Raccoon.
Yeah, but couldn't the Raccoon team basically just...
No, Raccoon isn't guaranteed to have that info. Before we do this, we have to go to Wingman, do a query to see if the user's willing to take it to the next level, or if they're just playing the field. Now, Wingman is cool, but he doesn't store any user info himself. He has to reach out to other user info provider services, like RGS, Barbie Doll, Ringo2, BLS. But how does it know what all the user provider services are? Well, for that, it has to go to Galactic, all-knowing user service provider aggregator. And we'll
But you know, making something kind of just change colors like fairly straightforward. The difficulty comes really when it comes down to if you've got a ship with a particular kind of paint breakup. So if you've got a ship that's, you know, by default it's silver and it's got a little bit of blue or whatever, and it looks great. That's cool, and you can put a bunch of different combinations on it. It looks great. The problem comes is a lot of time we're trying to theme like packs around particular kind of colors or ideas, and as soon as you start kind of trying to get tints to work across multiple ships that have been set up in different ways, it becomes quite you can make some really ugly ships really easily up on white. So it can take, you know, you've got to be a little bit more kind of careful with that sort of stuff. One of the things that kind of limits us a little bit is our breakup is kind of baked into our ship models. So we don't have the ability to kind of just go, okay, actually I want to make all of these panels one color, this panel another color. It's like it has to work with everything. So that can kind of add some complications. For unique paints, you know, they're a larger investment of time. All the graffiti stuff we did earlier last year, earlier this year or end of last year, I can't quite remember. That stuff is a bigger investment of time. The issue that comes with that is there's a lot of additional geometry that we need to add onto the ships to be able to support the kind of designs. With that additional geometry, you then have to go back in and reset up damage, reset up UVs, reset up vertex colors and wear, pump it all through the LODs. It gets quite complicated quite quickly, and on top of that, you then have to go through and re-update all the existing paints and tints that have already been done for those ships and anything that shares any variants. So if you take a Cutlass, for example, all of a sudden you're working across multiple different variants, all with loads. It just gets more and more kind of a rabbit hole you go down. So they do take a bit more investment of time. To try and not waffle for an hour on just this subject, we have recently been doing some R&D into, like, you know, how we improve the system and how we want to make it easier for us. There's lots of like really kind of clever ideas and things that we've talked to our kind of graphics team about, who luckily sit next door to me, so that's quite handy. And you know, we're kind of getting buy-in from these other departments, and they want to kind of see us push it as well. It now comes down to breaking down the work, kind of getting that estimates in, getting into a schedule, working out the priorities on it. So I do hope that we can make better paints quicker in the future. At the moment, it's I wish it was just the easiest, like, color swatch, pick, go, but it's not. And you know, I know there's a lot of games out there that do that. There's a lot of racing games that do that, and they allow you to do like full liveries across it. But the scale of our game, the texture resolution that we work to, you know, you try put in a unique texture on a ship that's 250 meters long, you very quickly see the limitations of unique unwraps and unique texturing, which is something that just doesn't work for a game of our scale, and it's not a compromise that anyone's really, especially me, is willing to make when it comes to putting them out. Like, I'm not having low res, low quality artwork all over the side of our ships. Sorry.
No, good answer. Check your check Teams for a question while I ask John a question here.
Okay.
John, can you give us any more info about other Retaliator modules?
Almost fell asleep during that paint
obviously, we need to do
conversation.
ones that we sold back in the day that we not delivered, which I think is the living quarters and dropship ones. Before we do any further ones, there are no concrete plans for additional ones. But if I get my way, I would do a medical bed one. just because I think that will be a pretty good utility to it. I know a lot of people have asked for a actual bomber module using bombs.
Yes.
I think I would
That was me.
personally.
I
That was
answered.
you. Oh,
'Cause we call it the retaliator
like,
bomber.
in that case, no. I would probably go the route of letting the existing torpedo racks be swapped to bomb racks as an option rather than a wholly new module. But we could go either way. It makes sense to do an actual dedicated bomb one, but we've got 2 paths for it.
All right. So that question I was trying to ask slyly, we're almost out of time. I was asking if we could get some extra time with our guys without putting them on the spot. They both graciously said yes. So we're gonna keep going because we have some more questions that I'd really like us to get to. Now I lost it. Any progress on the PTV rework and its backlog of paints, including the Best in Show one that was initially shown at least 2 years ago?
This is another great little fellowship task that we keep putting in the schedule, and then it gets removed because something runs long or something needs to come forwards. Yes, still planned. I think we did show a concept of it.
Yeah, I know we did concepts for it. I don't know if we've shown it
with the
publicly.
STV, maybe.
I don't think we did. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
What the hell is being reworked about the
We
PTV?
did the STV and we showed the other one that we never made. The other
the UTV.
UTV. I think it was there.
We did.
Yeah.
We showed the whole family, like, so you could see the lines. Yeah, that is how it will end up. So it's basically the current PTV brought up to modern grid standards, space for components, and I think a pair of weapon racks on the back of it, so you could put your personal weapons on, and then it will have backwards compatibility with all the paints and the Best in Show one we promised.
Yeah, this thing has like 2-inch wheels. Where are you going to be driving it that you need weapons?
I suppose there'll be new paints for it as well.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring your drone questions. There's a section at the drones just have nothing to do with the vehicle content team at all in any way, shape, or form. So we have a section at the end here where we're going to answer a couple of questions that don't have anything to do with this team. And one of those is about drones. So that's what I was asking about.
I'm pumped for drones. When I did play Eve, that's all I flew was drone ships, man. I love drone ships. So obviously, like, the Carrack was one of the first large ships I stepped into in Star Citizen whenever I started playing back in 317, and one of the first things I found whenever I was kind of walking around and just exploring the ship was the drone command seats or whatever. I thought they were already in the course. And I don't know, 3 years or whatever since then, and no drones. I cannot wait. I'm interested to know, and maybe this is already out there, so if you know, drop me a comment. I would love to know, but like, what is the plan for drones? Like, when I think about Star Citizen, about the best thing I can think is like each drone seat will feature a pilot kind of virtually controlling a drone. That would be really freaking cool. I'd be totally down for that.
Aren't we done with concept ships? Have we done a concept ship this year?
But if it requires AI,
We have not done one this year.
That would be interesting too.
We're not going to do one this year.
Maybe both.
Unless something manic happens in the next few months. But yeah.
Maybe like an AI drone that you can have a drone pilot take over manual control of. That'd be cool. There's a lot of cool ways they could go in a game with this much fidelity and drones. I'm excited to hear.
We got 4 months. We can't whip up a new concept that fast. So, no, this 2025 will end up.
Yeah,
2025 will end up being our first year without a single concept ship.
Yeah. It's something we've talked about, I think, loosely on various shows, that we ultimately want to move away from concept ships entirely and just go straight to here's the thing.
Just to be clear, we'll still be concepting ships. We just won't be showing them externally.
We won't be releasing them as concepts. We're trying really hard. We
made
a big
Sorry
effort.
to the concept artists watching this who are now on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's still an absolutely essential part of the process. It's just that we made this initiative last year to really try to make everything flight ready, just to move to flight ready. And we did. Last year, I think we only had 2 concept promotions last year, I think. It's taken us a while.
Yeah, Ironclad and...
Technically, the Starlancer attack variant was
Yeah.
concept and stuff like this, but we're trying really hard, and this year we've succeeded. That said, as I'm thinking about it right now, if you go all the way back to our like original crowdfunding campaign, I'm talking about the original stretch goals, I think we're still on the hook for a battle cruiser at some point, which will undoubtedly be the biggest ship in the game. Are we still going to do that?
Yeah, it's looking really, really cool with the progress we've made on it so far. So I think the battle cruiser, on paper, it's a big old ship, and we are. I hope I'm allowed to say this. We're in very early stages of kind of our concept work on the battle cruiser at the moment. Too late, Jared. Sorry.
We're going for it now.
We have to do it. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. It's not coming this year. It's not coming anytime soon. Okay, so just don't want to get anybody's hopes up or anything.
It's one of it's a big ship. It needs a bunch of concept to get it right. We're super happy with where it's going so far. I think it allows us to take a lot of the things that we've learned on our existing kind of ships and our larger ships and kind of wrap them into a big powerhouse and deliver something that we're kind of like we're super excited about. Not just in terms of like firepower, but what we can deliver from a ship this size with everything that we know now. So yeah,
it's unlike any of our existing capital ships. I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Or it will be, because you're still working on it.
Yeah.
Right. Just I backdoored into a subject here. Let's just be real clear. Trying really hard not to do concept ships anymore. 2025 looks like it's going to be, again, it would be impossible to launch a new concept at this point. So our first year without concept sales, we don't want to do any more concept promotions ever again. We might have to do our last one for the Battlecruiser whenever that comes. And
good. This is good news. This is a step in the right direction of someday ending ship sales. I can dream, right? When I hear what they're saying about the Battlecruiser being the biggest ship in the game and all this cool stuff, I don't want to think this way, but I can't help but think, just imagine soloing that thing. Shoo! I've become jaded about the whole soloing ship thing. This Idris has me like, oh man, all these people just flying this thing around with their laser beam is just, it's so anti what I signed up for in this game. Whatever.
Whatnot, but this is an exciting kind of big shift in our ships. We're flight ready or bust.
I'm holding out hope that they resolve this, because I do know that group multi-crew is one of the properties, at least it seems like to me, based on all my understanding and everything I've learned about this game. Multi-crew is a core tenet to how they plan to scale. So their motivations on incentivizing multi-crew is aligned with our desire to see multi-crew gameplay. So I'm holding out hope that single-player capital ships is not kind of like the norm, but I can't help but be a little annoyed by the subject at the moment.
Get the old ones that we need to deliver done, make new ones flight ready, and try to avoid concept promotions whenever possible. But realistically, if a Battlecruiser is as big as you're going to say it is, we'll probably have to do that one as a concept at some point. But we'll let future us worry about that whenever that day comes down the line. Not anytime soon. This is what you get, Ben, for details about the Battlecruiser. Are there any plans to add internal liveries to ships? You gonna let us paint our insides?
I'm a bit scared. I'd love to. It's one of those things that it requires teams outside of my control to be able to kind of deliver this, and they all have big priorities lists that they need to work through.
I'm gonna fall asleep again. These paint discussions, oh my gosh.
My expectation is it will come, because when we're actually kind of developing our ships, we are setting them up using the same tint system that we use on the exterior of our ships on the interior. It's just we have no way of making that kind of player facing, or no way of kind of being able to swap that within the client itself. as we make the work, though, we set them up in the same way where we have, we effectively assign different IDs to different areas of the ship, and they will take on, we set those materials to take on a tin, and then we tell it what that tin is. So it means that on like the back end for the last, I want to say like 18 months or so, we've been kind of making our ships like that, so that when that feature comes online, we've kind of we're already kind of trying to work a little bit smart and not accrue more kind of tech debt and more rework that we need to do on ships. So I am all for it. I can't make it happen on my own.
People in the chat are asking you to show us your Pokeball collection.
Oh no, they're not Pokeball. Well, I'll show these, John.
Sure.
Too late.
Don't know what you're showing.
They are like patches.
Yep.
They're an internal thing we do for our team that ships. Anyone that works on a ship gets their patch.
Yeah, and that's what's on the windowsill behind you. They're just
cool.
lit up from the little bit of sun we get in this country. Yep. So that's pretty cool.
Most teams I was on just got T-shirts. Patch is cool.
I've got to thank John for doing that. He's the one that takes care of and organises it all. So I get to show off John's.
I love T-shirts though too.
It reminds me I need to do last year's ones.
Yeah.
Because we're only up to 23.
What happened with the wolf not being gold standard? Is there a conspiracy?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw all the Reddit inspection posts about this. Like, it's some secret CIG conspiracy to stealth lower the standards of the vehicles. It's not. Ultimately, we wanted to release the Wolf in August, no matter what, and we just didn't have time to do everything we wanted to do for the Wolf to get it out the door in August. I saw plenty of comments saying, "Oh, it only takes 30 minutes to go model these patches."
If there's any artists out there that can model, animate, UV, do the technical setup, LODs, get it engine ready in 30 minutes, we have open hires. Please apply.
Job posting, cloudimperumgames.com/jobs.
There's a lot of work.
Go get them.
Beyond the actual physical modeling, and some of it has to be done sequentially as well, rather than work in parallel, in that if we're going to do the components, we can't do like the final damage mesh until it's all done. We can't do the final UVs. We can't do the final LODs. So that time we spend doing those components just delays everything later and later. So whilst it may be this amount of the whole schedule to do it, it shifts the whole date back. But they are in progress. I saw a video today of them all in engine, looking pretty cool. And they will be coming in a patch before the end of the year, along with some other Wolf-related things
that we possibly hinted at earlier in the show. I see the chat saying, so you want to have one ship a month? Some months are going to have 2 ships. Next month has the triage and the medevac. Months like May had 4 or 5 ships.
A lot more. Yeah. A lot more than.
Yeah.
November has a lot.
Yeah, it's not a prescriptive thing. If the Wolf wasn't ready, if the Wolf wasn't flyable, if it wasn't an enjoyable experience, if it wasn't usable, people couldn't play the gameplay with it and stuff like this, then no, we would not have released it. We would have held it. But a couple component bays, knowing that we can get them in to a relatively recent subsequent release, that's not a thing to hold. That's not a thing worth holding a release back. That's all that is. But yeah, I don't think it's any mystery. We're shooting for a ship almost every month, if not every month. I mean, I think if you just look back at this year and last year and the one before that, that becomes pretty self-evident. That's not any new information.
And that's not new either. Even in prior years, I can't remember a patch we did where there wasn't a vehicle released in it.
Yeah. It's mostly just, you're right. We changed to the monthly patches now, and so that becomes like that. But it's just we've tried to have something included in every patch for a while now. We just do more patches now. Where is the bloody G12? There's that question.
Where is the bloody G12?
Where is it?
Where is
it? This is another one of those vehicles that goes on the schedule. It's a nice little clean cut. Here's X weeks of time. We've got a strong concept for it, and then something happens, and it moves, and it's really annoying because it would tick the box of all the Origin ships done, and I think that would be, I guess, with the exception of Kruger, the first like properly complete manufacturer lineup, where we've released them all.
Yeah, I'm looking at my wall trying to see like if you're right, but yeah, I think, like I say, I'd love to get it ticked off. I'd love to get them done. They're super cool. I like ground vehicles, but yeah, it's not on the current schedule just now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It actually was on the Twin Twix 6 schedule.
It was, yeah.
It's the first and the third review. I think it got punted on the third review, unfortunately. Just so folks, get a sense of how many times we review this, and how many times it's revisited, and how many times it's repatched because of a whole bunch of factors. Why do you bring more and more single-seater ships with size 4 or even size 5 weapons? Don't you know that those are making not only makes it looking size 3 and smaller like toys for children? That's why I would read it. Sorry, but these sizes are meant to be armor piercing. So for shooting down bigger multi-crew ships, this is totally contradictory for a multi-crew experience if the one-man army is able to kill the group ship all alone. Sorry,
Okay.
I wasn't trying to be. I was having trouble just reading it. Sorry.
Yes, those bigger guns are designed to take on larger ships. Is putting them on smaller ships a problem? I don't think so. We have ships like the Ares that is a single-person ship with a very big gun designed to take on larger ships. We want there to be a wide range of gameplay styles, but what we don't want is like, we always refer to it internally as like the Jesus ship, where it's the best ever, and every ship owner wants their ship to be their ship. They want it to be the best handling, the most damage output, the strongest health.
Yeah.
But whacking a pair of great big guns on a ship doesn't make it instantly better than another ship, because we balance it alongside, not mentioning any ships in particular, we balance that alongside the handling and the armor. Brains failing. So yeah, the Meteor, which I'm guessing is probably the source of this question.
I remember.
Yes,
I remember for like the week before it released, everybody was on fire because it was supposed to be the most OP ship in the world and was going to destroy everything. And then people got their hands on it and they're like, "Oh, I guess not."
Yeah. Like I say, it's balanced around what it has. It has those big guns. They're tuned in a way that makes them not particularly effective against light fighters and small, fast-moving stuff, but better against larger ones. It doesn't have the shield and health to take hits. Its handling is great in a straight line, but not angular. And we have all these different options for if you want to play a certain way. There's a ship for that, but
almost pro multi-crew as they come,
like
and this seems reasonable to me.
C beats A in every single category.
And I think from my side of things, I think hopefully we're building a universe that has space for all sorts of different ships, and be it little single seaters with big weapons, or be it big haulers and cargo stuff with no weapons, and I think we're building a pretty wide-reaching game, or at least I hope we are. And I think as long as it doesn't break kind of like player immersion, as long as it doesn't kind of break the enjoyment, I think there's a massive amount of space for a variety of ships, and as long as they're all balanced, which, as John says, there's loads of different levers and strings that the clever people can kind of pull to make sure that the ships kind of work with each other, and we're not making something that's really overpowered. But purely from a visual kind of side of things, I think as long as it's believable, I think there's room for all sorts of fun stuff. At least I hope there is.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much closer you can move your mic, but you're getting quieter again.
Am I getting quiet again? Sorry.
Yeah. It's all right. He's alone in his office right now. He's just, people think that we're like professional TV personalities or whatever. People forget that most people here are just normal people. Well, not John. John's not normal.
And also, I've got like
not normal.
Crowd of people working right out front of me. I get embarrassed shouting at the top of my voice.
Shoutcasting episode.
Yeah. I did. No, I took my one swing at shoutcasting at the anniversary live stream that nobody talks about anymore. Never again.
Remember Shoutcast?
Oh, that's the wrong camera. Gaming Llama Spaz in the chat asks, will we get more Star Kitten paints?
Oh my gosh. So over the paints.
Depends whose decision it is.
I wanted to see what your answer was.
So
It's not as
We
simple
will.
as you
It
think,
says yes.
people. It's not as simple
Yeah,
as you think.
we will, because they're very popular. Would I like to see another Star Kitten paint, or would I like to see something that is equally as fun, that is slightly different? I'd probably take something equally as fun that is slightly different. But I know there is a
Some
lot
Ninja
of,
Turtles.
love for the Star Kitten. I think for me, it's why. Like, I don't want to put out a new ship that's just got a Star Kitten paint for the sake of putting out a Star Kitten paint. Now, if we have something in game, we have an event in game or an experience in game that is themed around that, then absolutely we do loads of ships around it. Or if we've got some story arc or some mission where the person at the end of it's a massive Star Kitten collector and you get one as a reward. I don't know. I'm winging it on the spot here. Yes, it's just I'm not really willing to just kind of like make one for the sake of making one. I'd rather it have an idea behind it and not just be like, oh yeah, it's going to do well. We'll just make one.
Phoenix in the chat says no one cares about paint questions. I hope you see the reaction in chat, Phoenix, and folks can show them.
If we themed IE around Star Kitten one year,
That wasn't me.
Okay, sorry.
That wasn't me.
No,
I did not say that.
This is one of those things. I'm going to go ahead and step on a landmine here for you here.
But I can relate.
CIG is not a monolith. There are roughly 900 or so people here, and there are a lot of opinions. And some people love Star Kitten, and some people who won't be named. They're not in this call, but they don't like Star Kitten, and it's we have to come to a consensus sometimes when we do things like this and stuff like this.
I can relate.
It's a forever fight. I've been trying to bring back Star Kitten for a while. Ben has the most measured response to it. He goes, it should be purposeful, and it should speak to the product and stuff like this, and that's why Ben is in charge of this, and I'm not. I would just be putting cute kawaii shit on all kinds of random stuff because I just think it's fun, and that's why I don't get to make decisions. But yeah, it's.
Thankfully.
Let us know. Go to Spectrum. Let us know how much you want Star Kitten. I don't care. I'm gonna step on it. Show people who don't believe with your voice that you want Star Kitten stuff.
I won't be there.
Or kawaii stuff or whatever. Make it happen.
I can see we're going into a version 10 of the schedule where we'll be taking a ship off to make a Star Kitten paint
Star
for
Kitten
every
paint.
ship.
Yeah, every ship.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So at this point, we are done with the strictly vehicle content questions, and we have a collection 1, 2, 3, 4 questions that were highly voted.
Let's talk about
in
drones.
the chat that actually had nothing to do with vehicle content. These were ship-related gameplay feature questions, where other teams work on things. But I thought they were important enough that we talk about them and we address them. And so we researched some answers. We went to some folks, and I'm going to ask them here. Ship-to-ship docking. Anything you can tell us?
Good question.
Still planned. All
That'd
the
be
ships
cool.
build for it follow the metric we set out for it. It's still planned. Small round circular docking collars will extend to the bounding box of each ship, and then the two will join together so you can transfer.
That'll be cool.
Nothing's changed there, but it's not on one of my teams
That'll be cool.
to deliver that, so I can't talk more.
All right. Something I hope you can say some more about. Any update about rearm, repair, and refuel from a hangar inside a capital ship like the Polaris or Idris?
So this is one I can talk a bit more about. Like, this is on the feature team schedule to be delivered in the near future.
This would also be very cool, but I hope it has some kind of I don't know, cost or physicalization where you have to load the things that you want to rearm onto the ship somehow, and then that gets depleted.
I'm not going to give a date, and it's required as as part of some other planned content, where we're going to allow ships to land inside, select other ships, and then be able to refuel, rearm, repair on board those ships using the parent ship's resources inside their cargo grids. So if you've stocked up your ship
Perfect.
with
Yes.
RMC and hydrogen fuel, the ship that's landed in will, at this moment in time, it may change when it releases, use the existing Mobiglass
Even if it
repair,
is generic like RMC, that'd still be awesome.
rearm screen and go, I want to repair rearm, and it will take it from the resources.
Very
And,
cool.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, I think it's not technically like blocking us from releasing any ships apart from, I think, the Crucible. If there's others, I can't remember them right now.
Crucible
but
makes
I do
sense.
think it
Vulcan.
will add a lot to.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
Vulcan.
The like the kind of the Volker experience that isn't just focused around. Well, I guess it is still sort of related to combat anyway, but I think it will it will still add a lot of kind of gameplay to some of our larger kind of multi-group ships.
Now, I do want to clear up stuff, folks, for Kemi. Hey, Kemi. Been a while. And folks who are saying Ironclad and Crucible and stuff. No. This is what John said, and I want to reiterate this here. Select hangars of existing ships. This isn't something for new ships, although it is something that will apply and make things like
the
the
Ironclad
Crucible
will
and the
apply
Vulcan,
too, with the
possible
vehicle,
down
the ground
line.
vehicle
This
repair
is
station probably.
making it so, let's just take a ship with a big hangar as an example, like an Idris. If you have extra munitions, you have extra fuel, you have extra repair goop or whatever sitting on your cargo grid, and somebody lands a ship on the same cargo grid, you can reload,
890 jump.
rearm, refuel, and everything from that stock. It's not going to be every ship. It's not going to be every hangar, but there will be, like I said, it's on the feature schedule right now, and it's necessary for some of the interesting content that we have scheduled for the next year. So, know when, but it's on the schedule and being active.
Cool.
And it's needed for some of the goals that the gameplay teams have. So, it'll be a really cool thing for ships when it comes. Did I get that right, John?
Very cool.
Yes.
Okay. Since we have revealed that the Apollo is coming next month, how are drones such as repair and medical coming along?
Cool. It's the drones question that chat
It's
has
the
been asking
drones
for.
question.
So drones are being developed as part of base building. Obviously, the Apollo is coming next month. That
So
means
base building is coming next month.
That's not what it means. Or someone in chat says that. Drones will not be releasing as part of the Apollo launch. We'll rip that band-aid off now. When we were developing the ship, obviously the Apollo, I want to say it was 2017 originally concepted.
17 or 18, I remember.
17 or 18. The idea of medical gameplay then is very different to the idea of medical gameplay now. And we have people working on updates to the medical gameplay system right now, beyond what we talked about, the medical beacon. And when we were looking at the ship, the drones was this sort of gray area. They said they would do one thing in the concept. That sort of doesn't really apply in the game loop we have now for medical. They predated tractor beams and just the whole respawn mechanics we have now. So we have left space for the drone bay in the ship. We've not got rid of it. The space is there if we find a valid use case for them to exist when drones as a feature exist. But the Apollo will launch next month without drone gameplay.
Now, I do want to add that because the Apollo is launching next month without the drone gameplay, we are going to do something else. We mentioned those modular bays that the Apollo has. The left and right tier 1 bed, the left and right double tier 2 beds, the left and right 3 tier 3 beds. In the past, when we've added modules to ships like the Retaliator and whatnot, we have sold those modules individually. We are not going to do that with the Apollo. So I'm here to tell you now we are going to include all 6 modules for free on every Apollo SKU. So if you already own the Apollo, you've got it already in your account, we are going to retroactively inject those into all of your existing items on the My Hangar app on your website. So if you have the Apollo now, you're going to get all 6. If you purchase the Apollo when it comes out in September or at any point from now on, it's not like a limited time thing. If you purchase the Apollo from any point from now on, it will come with all 6 bays. So that's just one of those things. We were just looking at it, and it's like for all the reasons John said, absolutely completely valid about not including the drones at this time. We still felt there was something more we could do to kind of ease that switch over. So this is what we're going to do. So
I'd still like to hear about how the drones are going to work. What the idea there is.
Anything? I'm asking you, John, did I forget anything?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, that we're aware that there are some issues with medical gameplay at the moment, and beyond just the beacons being not there, and we're wanting to try and fix some of those things and improve the whole, like not just fix things, add gameplay to the medical stuff, but hopefully we'll get that for September, if not soon after.
And there will be some more changes to med beds and how they work. They're getting some additional functionality and stuff, but you'll learn more about that when that promotion stuff goes, closer to the event. Last question. Any update about being able to relog and or log in on our friends' ships and beds for the crew?
I believe there are some bugs with the current system. That is probably the root of this question. But I'm not the team that is responsible for fixing them, so I don't have the answers to when for those. But
Sure,
I do want to talk
nice.
about how we want to deal with logging in and out going forward in the future. We want, and I think Rich has talked about this before, we don't want to exclusively gate logging in and out of the game purely to ship beds. We want to allow you to do it anywhere, but there's consequences to that. It's just that beds will have bonuses. Like if you log out in your ship bed, it's better than just logging out on the floor or somewhere. And that means you will start seeing some ships where you go, that ship would have been really cool, but why does it not have a bed? Probably utility, where we're sort of taking that design mindset going forwards. So yeah, expect to see some of these changes going forward in newer ships. Like obviously exploration ships, where you're supposed to be out long duration, will have beds and everything. But those sort of smaller, short-term ships may not have them anymore.
Gotcha. So
Makes sense.
Just want to reiterate here, because again, this is an early.
But what about
design change. It's too
bathrooms?
early to go into a whole lot of the details and stuff. But the idea here is to eventually move to a system where you can log in and out on your ship whether you have a bed or not, and then explore what advantages we can add to those ships that do have beds on top of that.
Yeah,
which we can't talk about now because we're still exploring what those might be.
Makes
All
sense.
right, cool. But for people like, oh, my ship
In general,
doesn't have a
I
bed,
like,
I can't log out. Well,
In general, I like the model where you achieve something by doing something rather than being punished for not.
that's where we're working towards minimizing the impact of that.
Cool.
John, Ben, I'm sorry, we went an extra 25 minutes. I think I asked you for 10. And I went 25.
No problem from my side.
I'm a piece of crap.
We can carry on talking about tints.
Yeah, do you want to go to
Oh
full
my
deep dive
gosh.
on it?
No,
Do some examples
please, no.
live.
No, that's probably all right. Guys, thank you so much for taking your time to be here. Obviously, we don't do as many shows as we used to. Part of that is the big change to monthly content. Part of that is the big change to we haven't released a whole lot of new features, which was mostly what ISC tended to talk about. Part of that was, as you saw in ISC last week, we don't want to spoil the content anymore. We're at the point we're making some of the most exciting content we've ever produced for Star Citizen. We'd really like you to get in game and experience that stuff without having every single thing spoiled for you on ISC. So we knew all that going into January. So the video content has changed a bit. But when we do get to have these times to sit here, I really appreciate you coming on the show and then taking the extra time to answer as many questions as possible. And again, a shout out to the community on this one. I think I did at the beginning that the questions this week were excellent in general. There were a lot of things that we wanted to talk about. So thank you so much for doing your part. That said, there will be no show next week or the week after. We're in heavy swing for CitizenCon Direct production, so it's why we're here in my office on Zoom right now. We're filming all of the stories and stuff that you'll see on October 10th. Remember, that is a smaller, approximately 2-hour show. So it's going to be way more focused and direct, for lack of a better word. I almost use the words bespoke, than traditional Citizen Cons.
Taylor.
So it'll be a different experience. But remember, there are also watch parties. There's a bunch all over the world, including 9 that we're specifically sending CIG staff in development to. I believe John and Ben are both going to one, but we won't say which one right now.
We're doing a big watch party for this on our Discord, so if you're looking for a virtual watch party to attend and you're not on the Discord yet, hit the link in the description below, discord.gg/unhinged. Come on over, join us. It'll be awesome.
Nice and friendly.
But yeah, so you can check that stuff out on the website if you want to attend those. But again, if you can find a local one, even though we're not attending, it'll be a really cool experience. And at 2 hours, it won't hurt your butt on a bar stool, we hope. John, Ben, thank you so much. I think we got a lot of good information this week. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you next week. Or not next week.
George.
I just said I won't see you next week. Let's look at the unfortunate Carrack again. How inappropriate. This is just. I didn't mean to show the tip. I was trying to avoid that because I didn't want to get that to get screenshotted.
Too late.
Once it's on the internet, Jared, it's always on the internet. Just remember.
Bye, everybody. It's a good thing.
That was a good show. A lot of interesting things discussed there. Some things that were pretty cool to hear. Some things that were, that stung a little bit. Especially the part about new ships selling well. Definitely stung. What else? I wish we would have got more information on the drone stuff. I'd love to hear more about that. Things like cross-ship docking. Yeah, a lot of good information on the ships in general. We'll see. It's fun to watch. Thanks for watching it with me. That's all I got for now. Stay tuned. We got more episodes from the series that I've been doing on hot buttons and MMOs. We got a couple more of those coming out. I'm already thinking about the next deep dive video that I'm going to be doing. That'll be coming out in the near future. I got a couple of them percolating in my mind, actually. So we'll be catching up on that kind of stuff again soon, too. If there was anything, I know I was asking for a lot of comments during this video because there was a lot of questions I had, a lot of things I wasn't sure about. If you have any of that stuff, if you got information on any of it, jump into the comments. If any of this offended or pleased you, I'll also jump into the comments. Like the 600i, not even next year? Come on. Like that was a major bummer to me. The fact that they consider the Odyssey something that could be implemented. It's not blocked by gameplay issues. That's exciting. As well as the rest of the MISC lineup. Although I think, like I said, I think the other Hall series ships, we're not quite ready for them yet. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. Anyway, I'm going to cut it off here. I will catch you all soon. Take care. Grolo out.